Assalamu alaikum. My name is Naveed Hussein. I am a divorce attorney and I am also an instructor with the Nikah Masterclass. Today I wanted to talk about the Nikah contracts, right? Those Nikah contracts that you sign on the day of your marriage. It's one page. It says that your mahr is going to be paid at this time or this date. And usually you don't even think about it, right? But there's a lot of problems with those contracts. And today I wanted to highlight 3 problems with those nikah contracts, and especially something that women need to be looking out for. So the first problem, number 1, is the problem of divorce. What do I mean? Islamically, there's really 1 or 2 ways for a woman to get a divorce, right? One is a khula, but in a khula, the husband has to agree. And the second way is for the woman to seek a fasq, which is through a judicial system, an Islamic judicial system. But unfortunately in America, we don't have many options. So you might be stuck in this whirlwind where you can't get out of a marriage, right? And I see it all the time in my practice where individuals, they've been divorced legally, right? But the man for some reason says that he doesn't want to issue the divorce. There's no real fasq process and now they're stuck. They can't get remarried. Well, there is a solution, and that solution is something called tafweed. Okay, tafweed is a type of provision within a nikah contract that gives the woman the right to give a divorce, just like the man would, right? This has to be something that's a man, proposes, something that the husband will agree with, and it also is revocable. But that is one solution, a tafweed provision or a tafweed nikah or a tafweed divorce is something that you can have within your nikah contract in order to avoid that problem. Okay? The second issue or the second problem that we see with nikah contracts, especially in the West, is mahr. Okay? This is the basis of a nikah contract in Islamic law. But what happens a lot of times is that upon divorce, you try to go and present this paper, this nikah paper, this little contract, to a court. And you expect that a court is going to enforce that. But unfortunately, that does not comply in 99% of the time with American law and therefore will not likely be enforced. So what can you do? Right? And a lot of times, I have women who come to my office, they'll bring the nikah paper and say that I'm supposed to get $100,000 in my mahr. What can I do? Unfortunately, in those circumstances, there's not much that I can do. So the solution to that is to make sure that this nikah contract is compatible with American law. And the way to make sure that Islamic law is going to be implemented in the Western system is to use a prenuptial agreement. Okay? So that's how we can solve problem number 2. And problem number 3 is related to the first one, but there's this gray zone. There could be this limbo that happens when you enter into a divorce from the legal system, but the Islamic divorce hasn't been completed, right? So that can happen if the civil divorce has been given and the husband decides that they are not going to give the talaq. That could happen where they don't agree to a khula, there's no fuss, there's nothing to be given. Well, one other solution, maybe instead of tafweed, would be to have a provision in your contract that says that once a Western court or a judge or the Western system decides that we are divorced, that will also count as our divorce. And again, what's beautiful about Islam is that we can negotiate terms at the time of the nikah so that they will apply at the time of divorce. We have freedom of contract as long as it doesn't go against certain principles of ambiguity and unconscionability and something that's not part of our deen. But besides those things, we have the freedom to contract, and especially for women, we should know these provisions and that we have the right to seek these types of provisions so that we are not left in this limbo that this dichotomy between Islamic law and American law creates. So at the Nikah Masterclass, we have created a template that you can use in your nikahs to make sure that, maybe the tafweed provision is in there. Maybe there's a provision that says that the civil divorce will count as the Islamic divorce. We have mediation clauses. So go ahead, check out the template on nikahmasterclass.com. We'll have a link in the description below. I would like to thank you again for tuning in, and please register for the Nikah Masterclass. Until next time, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.